She humiliated me in front of her friends, mocked me like I was nobody. That was the night I stopped being the husband who tried and started being the man who remembered his worth. What she didn't know? I was about to dismantle her perfect little world, one quiet move at a time. I never planned on becoming invisible in my own marriage. It's not like I woke up one morning and thought, you know what sounds fun? Slowly disappearing from the life I built with someone I love. But that's the thing. Disappearance doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in, piece by piece, until one day you realize you become background noise in a house you used to feel at home in. My name's Alex. I'm 36, work in IT. I'm not flashy, never have been. But I'm solid, consistent. The kind of guy who remembers to pick up the almond milk, schedules oil changes without being asked, and never forgets your mom's birthday. Not exactly Hollywood material, but I figured that being steady counted for something. Amanda used to think so too. When we met, she was this sharp, magnetic force of nature. She didn't need to demand attention. It just followed her around. And it wasn't just her looks or confidence, it was her mind. She was clever in a way that caught you off guard. We had this dry, sarcastic banter that made every conversation feel like a private joke. We were in sync. I was the quiet anchor. She was the storm with a plan. It worked until it didn't. Things started changing after she got promoted to senior brand manager at her firm. That, plus her side gig as a lifestyle influencer, flipped a switch. At first, I was proud. She was building something, stepping into her own. But the more followers she got, the less she seemed like the Amanda I knew. She became performative. Her smile became content. Her laughter was for the camera, not for me. The worst part? It wasn't sudden, it was slow, like watching paint peel. She stopped asking how my day was, started scrolling during dinner, laughing at strangers' comments online while ignoring my stories. And if I tried to talk about it, she'd cut me off with some version of, "You're just being too sensitive," or "chill out." But the moment I'll never forget, the exact point where something broke, was dinner with her colleagues at some overpriced rooftop restaurant downtown. I tried to make small talk with a finance guy who kept calling me tech dude, like I didn't have a name. Meanwhile, Amanda was spinning some story about her company retreat, and I joked, half smiling, "Maybe one day you'll take me somewhere tropical too." She looked me dead in the eye and, with a smirk that chilled me, said, "Maybe when you learn how to earn my attention, I'll consider it." Laughter from the whole table. I forced a smile, raised my glass, and drowned the shame in red wine. On the ride home, she sat in the passenger seat, legs crossed, scrolling Instagram like nothing had happened. I asked quietly, "Why would you say that?" She didn't even glance up. "Don't be so soft, it was a joke. Loosen up." But it wasn't a joke, it was a message, and I heard it loud and clear. That night, lying next to her while she snored softly, I stared at the ceiling and realized something. I was married to a woman who didn't just stop loving me. She started enjoying how little I mattered. And that was when I stopped trying. I didn't stop caring, not right away, but I stopped chasing. No more waiting for her to ask about my day. No more stories she wouldn't listen to. I became polite, distant, present, but unreachable. She didn't notice right away, not for the first few days, but then cracks started to show. She'd sigh when I didn't greet her with a kiss, ask, "Why so quiet?" when I didn't fill the silence. She'd look at me during dinner like I was a show that used to make sense but now just confused her. I didn't react. I didn't withhold affection as a weapon. I just disengaged. That was the beginning of the end. For her. She just didn't know it yet. Because the moment you stop feeding someone's ego, they start starving in ways they didn't even know were possible. Amanda didn't know what to make of the new version of me. The quiet one. The one who no longer tried to win her back. At first, she brushed it off, rolled her eyes, called me moody. "You've been weird lately," she said once, pouring herself a second glass of wine. I just nodded. That was all it took to shake her. No arguments, no begging, just silence. And Amanda, she couldn't handle silence. Soon she upped the volume, started making herself more visible at home. The flirty comments returned. The kind of lingerie she used to reserve for anniversaries made random appearances. She even began tossing out comments like, If I didn't know better, I'd think you were cheating. I looked at her and said flatly, if you didn't know better, we'd be having a real conversation. She didn't laugh, didn't scoff, just stared at me like she didn't recognize what she was seeing. After that, things shifted. Not better, just different. She stopped mocking me outright, but also stopped pretending we were still connected. Her nights out became more frequent. Networking, she said. Team dinners. Strategy sessions. Always vague, always out late. The excuses didn't matter. I already knew. She started showering the moment she got home. Phone always face down. Bluetooth off unless she was in her car. Passwords changed. Behavior tightened. That's the thing about people who lie a lot. They're only good at it when no one's watching too closely. And now, I was watching everything. The first real clue came on a Thursday. She came home late, said it was a coworker dinner. When she kissed my cheek, I caught the scent of wine and something else. Something distinctly male. Not my cologne. Not anything I owned. She tossed her heels in the corner and made a beeline for the bathroom. She didn't know I was still watching. When she caught her reflection in the mirror, she smiled. To herself. The kind of smile you give when you're not alone in your thoughts. That's when it hit me. She wasn't just detaching from me. She was replacing me. The next morning, I told her I left my wallet in her car and asked for the keys while she was brushing her teeth. She tossed them without thinking. I checked under the passenger seat and found what I was looking for. A receipt. Hotel downtown. 2 glasses of wine, 1 dessert. Single king room. I didn't say anything, not yet. 2 days later, she mentioned brunch with the girls. I smiled, played dumb. Oh, cool. Marcus again? She paused, too long. No, just the girls. I nodded. After she left, I waited 20 minutes and drove downtown, parked a block from the hotel, watched the entrance from my car. An hour later, Amanda walked out with Marcus. I recognized him from her Instagram stories the week before. Finance type. Slim fit pants, perfect hair, the kind of guy who calls waiters boss and thinks charisma is a personality. She touched his arm when she laughed, the kind of touch that's either post-intimacy or prelude to it. I snapped a photo, then I left. Still didn't confront her, because this wasn't about drama. This was about building a case, quietly, thoroughly. I wanted her to keep thinking she was in control, that I was still too passive, too oblivious to see the truth. But I saw it all. By the end of the week, I had everything. Phone records, thanks to a friend in IT who owed me a favor. Credit card statements. She wasn't just cheating, she was romanticizing it. Wine bars, sushi dates, even a spa visit that listed a couple's massage in the breakdown. But what broke me wasn't the receipts or the lies. It was a phone call. One Saturday, she asked me to pick up dog food. Our dog, of course, was more decoration than companion these days. When I got in her car, her phone was still connected to the Bluetooth. It auto-played a call through the speakers. I froze. Amanda. No, he hasn't said a word. That's the best part. Marcus. Damn, he really just lets you get away with it? Amanda. Laughing. Of course. He's too boring to cheat, too proud to ask, and too scared to leave. He just exists. That call cut out as casually as it started, but it didn't fade from my memory. I sat there not moving, staring at the dashboard. Too boring to cheat, too scared to leave. She was wrong on all 3. That night I made dinner, lit candles, played that old jazz playlist she used to love. She came home wearing perfume I didn't recognize and a dress too formal for the meeting she claimed to have had. She looked surprised. What's this? I smiled. Thought we could talk. She hesitated, then shrugged. Okay. We ate in silence. When the plates were cleared, I poured us both a drink and slid the hotel receipt across the table. She looked at it, didn't touch it, didn't even blink. That your house? I asked. She glanced up, smirked. Are you snooping now? No, I said. Just paying attention. She picked up the receipt, skimmed it, then set it down. Her expression didn't change. I could explain, she said, but I don't feel like justifying something that doesn't matter. Then, like it was nothing, she added, you haven't really been my husband for a long time. It didn't hurt the way she thought it would, because she'd finally said the one honest thing in months. I nodded. Good to know. She leaned back. folded her arms. So what now? You gonna cry? Pack your bags? Stay at your mom's? I sipped my drink. No, I just wanted to give you one last chance. She frowned. Chance for what? To be human. To tell the truth. To stop acting like decency is beneath you. She laughed. You think this is about cheating? This is about me outgrowing you? I leveled up. You stayed the same. I set my glass down. Then you'll have no problem when I walk away. She scoffed. You think you'll find someone better? No, I said, standing up. I think I'll finally have peace. The next morning I was gone before sunrise. No note, no announcement, no final argument. Just a duffel bag, my documents, and my keys. I left the house quietly, just like the trust in our marriage had left months ago. I moved into a short-term rental close to work. Nothing fancy, but it was clean, quiet, and completely free of Amanda's scent, her cold glances, her contempt. It was the first time in years I felt like I could breathe without waiting to be criticized for it. Amanda texted me that afternoon. Are you seriously doing this? I didn't answer. By the end of the day, the silence must have gotten to her. She started calling, left a voicemail, then another. Eventually, a long message full of confused outrage. You're just walking away? Over one mistake? You didn't even give me a chance to explain. That's when I knew I'd made the right call. Amanda didn't miss me. She missed the version of me who absorbed her moods, who buffered her insecurities, who stayed silent to keep the peace. What she didn't realize was how much of her life depended on mine until I stopped playing along. Within 24 hours, I separated our finances. I'd left them joint out of habit, convenience. That was stupid. I transferred my direct deposit to a new bank, froze the joint account, and left her with hers, and all the auto pay bills still connected to mine. By day 2, I got a text. Why did the gas bill get declined? I didn't reply. Day 3, she showed up at my job. My coworker peeked into the conference room. Alex, your wife's here. She says it's urgent. I stepped into the hallway. Amanda stood there, heels clicking against tile, eyes sharp but uncertain. You seriously think ignoring me is going to fix this? I kept my voice low. We're not fixing anything. She blinked. You don't mean that. I do. You told me I had to earn your attention. I did the math. It wasn't worth the cost. You're being cruel. No, I said. I'm just finished. Then I handed her a plain envelope. Inside were screenshots, hotel bookings, the Bluetooth call transcript, photos of her and Marcus at the wine bar. Her hand trembled as she flipped through the pages. Why are you giving me this? Because I'm not going to destroy your reputation, I said. You are. Her jaw tightened. You wouldn't dare. I don't have to. I'm not sending this to your boss, not to your family, not even your friends. I'm keeping it. So the next time you try to rewrite the story and paint me as the cold husband who just walked away, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember I didn't fight dirty. I left clean. I turned to go. What about the house? I didn't answer. She found out 3 days later when the real estate listing went live. Turns out I'd refinanced it 2 years earlier when her credit was too damaged to co-sign. Her name wasn't on the title anymore. By noon, my phone lit up. 12 missed calls. I answered the 13th. You're selling the house? You can't do that. I already did. Where am I supposed to go? I paused. I don't know. Maybe Marcus has a guest room. Silence. You're enjoying this? No, I said, calm. I just stopped bleeding for someone who didn't notice she was holding the knife. I hung up. Amanda switched tactics after that. She started calling mutual friends, trying to get ahead of the story. Claimed we drifted apart. Said I was going through a phase. But people aren't stupid. They knew her. They knew me. And now that I was out in the world again, looking lighter, speaking clearer, smiling like a man who remembered how, it became harder for her to shape the narrative. Meanwhile, her fantasy life was falling apart. Marcus ghosted her within weeks. Once the thrill wore off, so did his attention. Cheating with someone is always more exciting than staying with them. Her work suffered too. She'd built her career on confidence and charisma. But charisma fades when people stop buying the act. When the spotlight dimmed, Amanda didn't know how to operate in the dark. She sent one last message a few weeks later, a voice note. Her voice was different this time. Not mocking, just tired. I know I messed up, she said. I miss the way you used to look at me. Like I mattered. Like I was safe. I didn't appreciate it. I thought attention was something people owed me. But you made me realize it's something you're supposed to earn. And I don't think I ever deserved you. I listened once. Then I deleted it. Not out of spite, but because I had already said goodbye. Not when I left the house. Not even when I handed her the proof. The moment I said goodbye was the night she told me to earn her attention. And I realized I didn't want it anymore. In the weeks after I walked away, Amanda discovered what silence really felt like. Not the kind where someone is stewing in the next room. Real silence. The kind that happens when there's no one left to explain, to argue, to forgive. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. I just stopped engaging. She tried different angles. First anger, then guilt, then nostalgia. You don't get to just erase 7 years, she texted. I didn't respond. She followed that with, we were both at fault. You shut down. You weren't present. I made mistakes, but so did you. Still nothing from me. Finally came desperation. I miss you. I miss us. I didn't know how much until you were gone. By then, it wasn't about anger. I wasn't trying to punish her. I was just done. Amanda had built her entire identity around being desired, chased, admired. She never imagined what would happen when someone simply stopped chasing her. She assumed I'd be circling back, begging for resolution. She assumed the silence was temporary. It wasn't. I didn't replace her with someone new. I replaced her with peace, with clarity, with time that didn't feel like a burden. And in that quiet, I started reaching out to people I'd pushed aside over the years. Old friends, colleagues, even my younger sister, who once told me Amanda made her feel like an outsider. I went hiking with coworkers, took weekend trips alone, read books I'd been too tired to start. There were no dramatic transformations, just steady moments of living without being criticized for how I breathed, what I said, or how I said it. Amanda's world, on the other hand, started cracking. Marcus was the first piece to fall. Their flame burned fast and burned out faster. Turns out, a relationship built on secrets and adrenaline doesn't hold up under daylight. He ghosted her, quietly and completely. After that, her online persona started slipping. The curated posts got fewer likes. People noticed something was off. When you live for validation, a dip in engagement feels like a collapse. Her stories became less confident. She started resharing old content like nothing had changed. But people could sense it. Even through screens, people can tell when the mask doesn't fit anymore. Then came the work fallout. Amanda thrived in high-energy environments, in meetings where she could charm and lead. But without her usual energy, and with rumors quietly spreading about Marcus and her exit from professionalism, she started losing influence. Colleagues began pushing back on her decisions. Her boss reassigned a campaign she was proud of. For someone who had built her value on being irreplaceable, that shift hit hard. I heard bits and pieces from mutual friends. No one said it outright, but they all knew. You can only fake being in control for so long. Amanda eventually started reaching out to people we hadn't spoken to in years, mutual friends she used to dismiss or ignore. I got texts from a few of them. Hey, Amanda's been asking about you. Everything okay? I told them the truth, calmly, directly, no drama. We're done. I'm good. Some were surprised, most weren't. Because when someone mistreats their partner for long enough, people start noticing, even if no one says anything out loud. Amanda didn't reach out again for a while, not directly. But I noticed the changes. The home we once shared? She moved out a few weeks after the sale went through. The new owners posted photos online. A fresh start, neutral walls, no traces of the woman who used to rule the kitchen like it was a stage. She sent one last email. Subject line, closure? The message was short. I know I didn't handle things well. I'm not asking for another chance. I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry. For everything. I see it now. You were good to me. I just didn't know how to be good back. I didn't reply, not out of bitterness, but because the story was already over. She was trying to find an ending to something that had ended the moment she looked me in the eye at that restaurant and told me to earn her attention. I had. by leaving. That was the closure. There was no speech to give, no final scene to play out, no perfect summary of our years together. What mattered was that I finally recognized what she refused to, that love is an ode and loyalty isn't a weakness. She thought she could outgrow me. What she didn't realize was that I was never standing still. I just needed to stop standing with her to start moving forward. I didn't expect peace to feel like this. Quiet, steady, without applause. For the first time in years, I wasn't measuring my value by how someone else treated me. I was just existing, fully, without walking on eggshells or waiting for the next criticism to land. It took time, but something shifted. I wasn't waking up with dread anymore. I wasn't performing in my own life. I was living in it. Amanda's last message stayed unread for days before I finally deleted it. No anger, no second thoughts, just a decision to keep moving forward. She had her closure. I already had mine. The people who knew us, really knew us, stopped asking questions. They saw the difference. I wasn't avoiding places we used to go. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't broken. I was simply lighter, like I dropped a weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Amanda, from what I heard, never really recovered. Not in a dramatic, tragic way, but in the subtle ways that show when someone built their confidence on control and attention. Marcus was a short chapter. Her social circle tightened. The brand deals slowed. She didn't become a cautionary tale. She just faded from relevance, slowly and awkwardly. That's how it usually happens. People think revenge means making someone pay, exposing them, humiliating them. But the truth is, the most devastating revenge is refusing to play the game. It's leaving quietly. It's rebuilding in silence. It's becoming someone so steady, so grounded, that they don't know how to throw you off balance anymore. Amanda once told me I had to earn her attention. But attention isn't love. It's not respect. It's not connection. It's noise. And when I stopped chasing it, when I finally let the silence in, I heard something else. My own voice. That voice started saying yes to the things I'd postponed for years. Catching up with friends, taking a solo road trip up the coast, starting that side project I always said I didn't have time for. Not because I was trying to prove anything, but because I finally had room to be myself without being monitored. I didn't jump into dating. I wasn't looking for validation. I was looking for authenticity, starting with my own. And in that space, I began to understand the real cost of trying to keep something alive that had already died. Amanda taught me that you can't save someone who enjoys watching you sink. That love without mutual effort is just slow erosion, and that no amount of loyalty can make someone treat you better if they've already decided your presence is optional. But she also gave me a gift, not intentionally, but real nonetheless. She taught me what self-respect looks like in practice, what it means to walk away, not because you don't care, but because you finally do, about yourself. Every time she minimized me, every time she dismissed my voice, she taught me what kind of life I never wanted again. And now, I'm good, not in a social media highlight reel kind of way, but in the real sense. My days aren't dramatic. My phone doesn't buzz with crisis. I come home to quiet. I eat meals without tension. I sleep through the night. And that's not something I take for granted. I don't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it because someone out there needs to hear it. If you're in a relationship where your worth is questioned, where your presence is treated like background noise, stop arguing. Stop begging. Stop trying to prove your value to someone who's made up their mind to overlook it. Just leave. Not with rage. Not with vengeance. With resolve. Because people like Amanda don't expect silence. They expect pushback. They thrive on conflict, on being the center of attention, even if it's through chaos. Take that away, and they're left with the truth, that without you, they were never as powerful as they thought. And you were never as powerless as you felt. The day I walked away wasn't the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of a life I actually wanted. So if you ever find yourself being told to earn someone's attention, remember this. You already have value. You don't need to prove it to someone who can't see it. Let them sit in the silence they created. Eventually, they'll realize it was never you who needed them. It was always them, feeding off the version of you that kept giving while they took. Walk away, and don't look back.